Hello.
Hello.
To start with, what's your name and where are you now?
Hello, my name is Tijana Mićović, and right now I am in the space where I actually work and practice psychotherapy, Gestalt psychotherapy.
Hmm. So I already have noticed your painting behind in our pre-interview chit
Mhm.
chat, and I just haven't asked you what does that painting mean for you?
Well, both of these paintings uh, mean a lot, and
Mhm.
um, I know that you noticed this one that has a sentence, "Love is a key," and that is something that I personally believe with all my being, and I really kind of live that. But these paintings are firstly the gift from my parents to my sister and me, because we share this space where we work together, and my sister is a psychotherapist as well. So that was a gift from them for like our beginning when we started working here. So it kind of always reminds me of them and this kind of message that I probably, not probably, but surely, firstly got through them and our upbringing and what they represented as a couple and what they represented to us as parents and what we made as family. So yeah, it kind of first, that's the first like thought. And I also had a chance to meet this painter, this artist who painted these paintings. So it also reminds me of new friendship, some nice thoughts that we shared, understanding of what we do. So it's even a bigger pleasure, and I'm even more glad to have these paintings here, having like in mind the whole picture of it. So for me, it's always nice when I look at them, and they really fill me with some nice energy and love.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned a little bit through this answer what are some values that you hold in your life, but do you want to say more about that?
Hmm. Yeah, that's something that yeah, first that comes is of course love for me. Love towards uh, life, love towards my close people, my family, my friends, uh, my partner, um, love towards people in general, and um, relating connections. Um, it kind of leads me, makes me open, um, makes me grateful for everything that has happened, that happens, even though sometimes things are not always nice and struggles are um, on the path, um, things that hurt, things that evoke some pain. But again, love takes me on this place where I can feel um, trust, where I can feel um, that I can believe that whatever happens, it will have some kind of meaning and um, potential for growth. So it was not always easy to live by this,
Mm-hmm.
and at certain points in life when I feel pain or when I feel the unfairness of events that happen, that hurt, that I cannot explain. At those points, it was hard to feel and to see the good. So that was like a growth process for me to be able to be wherever I am in whichever moment in life, and to be able to see both sides and to stand and stay on this place of love. That's probably the biggest value. But let's see, other value that comes is commitment and loyalty in a way. And again, it refers to commitment and loyalty to what I believe, to people, and to what I do. What I do as a professional, but also as a human. So that's another important value for me. With that comes, of course, hard work, discipline, effort, not giving up, trying to finish what I've started, even though sometimes it's not easy, or it's quite hard actually. So that's what comes with commitment, I guess. If I move on to other values. Well, it's probably some kind of being open. Being open to I guess, whatever comes, being open to novelty, being open to uncertainty, accepting whatever comes, whatever chooses me, whatever I choose on that horizon. But yeah, being open to whatever comes. That's something that probably I started to live more during my education in Gestalt and learning about the field theory and stuff like that, and then implementing that in my life, and then seeing, oh, this actually really sets me free. And I like to be free. I like freedom. So freedom is, again, a value that I appreciate very much. So yeah, I probably be able to move on with more, but they will probably appear while we talk.
Yeah. And so who are you? What would you say about yourself? Which are the lenses you see yourself through?
Well, most directly, if I answer from where I stand and where I sit right now, and if I take into consideration that right now I talk to you, and we are joined around the similar or same goal to extend this Humans of Gestalt network. Yeah, my answer would probably be I am a Gestalt therapist, and I'm like open to see what happens next as we speak. But if I move from this most direct answer, oh, it's a tough question, the toughest one, the toughest one in life, in philosophy, in how to answer it. And I have a feeling that whatever I say, it's not really the answer. So I will accept that I cannot answer this, and just like say, what am I and who am I? What makes me? What defines me? And what defines me is my past, of course, my upbringing, my family, my parents, my sister and my brother. And they are the base, the root, the source of most of the things that define me or make me who I am today. I was lucky enough to have parents who were very passionate in what they do, and who actually showed me how it looks like when somebody loves what they do as a profession, and how it looks when someone is really devoted to a profession and committed to that, and how it looks like with a lot of ease. Actually, it doesn't look hard at all, and it leaves the space and time for a lot of other things that they love and that they are committed to. So I was lucky to have them present, and very involved, and very attuned. And then, as I'm the youngest child in my family, my sister and my brother, my sister is older 4 years and brother is older 7 years. I was again lucky enough to watch them and what they do, and how again committed they were and still are in what they do. So they really gave me, um, um, I wouldn't say a task, because it's not a task. They gave me a really great foundation and really great support. And they made me believe that everything you wish, that everything you actually work on, that you can do it. So that is first my foundation, my base. And then what defined me is my further path. And I grew up as a very curious child. That from very early days, I was surrounded with a lot of books, and like I wasn't really interested for, like, I don't know, some child books, I guess. But every book that was like related to psychology, that kind of struck my attention. So like books like Little Hans or Study Case Anna O were some of the first books. And my mom, who is a psychologist and psychotherapist, she would say, you know, Tijana, like, leave that. You will not understand it right now. You know, there is time for you. So a very curious child, and the child who, besides interest in, I guess, finding out novelty and like starving for some kind of knowledge, I grew up as being very much involved in tennis. And tennis is my huge love, my great love. And it, I guess it's another second important thing that really shaped me. I played tennis competitively for most of my elementary and high school. I finished high school in United States, and I played it there as well. But not just like tennis as a sport. Yes, the love for sport was great, but also like the people and friends that I met through tennis, which are still my best friends, family, and also the values that tennis taught me and how it built me to be like a fighter. Again, not to give up, to be very disciplined, very committed, very responsible. And those are the values that I kept with myself through my university and academics and life,
Mhm.
um, where I again continue to meet other people. And I would say that people, that my dear friends, people that I met on that way, also make me who I am and define me. And it's a source of great support for me.
Mm.
So that, and as psychologist, I parallelly with my studies in psychology, I did an education in Gestalt psychotherapy. So that's another milestone or step or a source of what defines me. But as I joked a bit with you, how my mom is psychologist and Gestalt therapist, I guess that my studies or my education in Gestalt started with her.
Mhm.
So when I was still in her stomach, she was pregnant with me when she was on her own education in Gestalt therapy. So if we believe in like prenatal learning and all that, and what we inherit through our mother during that time, I like to say that that's where I start with Gestalt. And
Mm.
of course, with everything that she brought in, and how, the way she lived Gestalt, and the way she transferred that on us as family. So even my father, who is from the field of law studies, he's familiar with a lot of Gestalt terms and explanations. So yeah.
Mhm.
Now, Gestalt is still very important as everything else in defining me, and something that really makes a huge part of what I am, of who I am, of how I define and determine myself. It's a great support. Yeah.
Mm.
So,
And I'm wondering, in all these ways that you define yourself, how do you feel in your gender, and do you equalize your sex and your gender?
hmm, yeah, now it's a hot topic. When you say that it's a hot topic, it requires a lot of ethics and responsibility. But if I move from there, like from like theoretical explanation of this question, how I see myself, that's a very ongoing process where um, I'm a woman in sex and gender, but of course that I recognize both energies that we all have, like masculine and feminine energy, and how it affects me, and what is more in figure and what is in background or in ground of my current being in this moment. And I guess that masculine energy was quite strong in the way of, um, let's say, being very efficient, being in control of most of the things that masculine energy, like the principle of power and control and efficiency, all these things. It's a great support for me. I'm very much in touch with that. But last few years, I say that I started to nurture much more this feminine energy. And what I learned is to slow down and just be. And I find that very feminine. Or not just like sit and being in total quiet space and listen to myself, but yeah, slow down. And as I mentioned maybe previously, like open up for whatever may come, and open for something that is like much greater than me, something that I cannot control, something that happens, and not having the urge to necessarily do something about it. So this feminine like energy, I enjoy it very much. Like to give in, to be, to take care of myself, slow down, not be afraid that if I stop for a moment or slow down that I will miss something, that the world is going to stop, or that somebody else is going to suffer because of that. Believe in process, in the field, in other people. So it's very nice, and again, it's very relieving. It's in a way, it sets me free. Yeah, it's nice.
And I'm curious, was it challenging to get in touch with that feminine energy, and how were you initiated into that? If you want to share, of course.
Yeah. Yes. Just give me a moment to go back there to that moment that initiated it. Now I feel it, it's like it starts the work here, and it was very challenging. Yeah. Not so much work on it. The work on it was very nice. It was very creative, very inspiring. I still remember the session I worked on with my therapist. It's something that I have it here every time, that I want to remind myself of that session, of the metaphors, of the feeling. But the moment that initiated was, the moment where I felt that I was exhausted, that I was in a way of emotional and physical exhaustion. Like I couldn't, it was like I cannot go any further. It's like this line, and if I go any further, it's going to be like, so going down into the abyss or something like that. I felt that. And that was a moment for me when I realized that I have to do something about it, the boundaries that I have to make, or redefine, to redefine myself, to redefine some of the relations or the ways of relating, not just to people again, but to everything, to everything that is in my life. And the way I was approaching things, with this masculine principle that was so hard, so strong. It was like, go, 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 and then comes the moment when you just can't go any further. And it's quite scary, the first instant, the realization, but then it was just beautiful. It was just beautiful. And yeah, I can share how I called it, how I made a metaphor. For me, when it was a moment in a session when my therapist invited me to kind of evoke an image of what I was talking about, what I want, about this need to live a more how to say, to live a life that follows my rhythms, the rhythms of my body, the rhythms of my soul much better. And I had a very nice image, or um, an image of myself, like with so many schools that I went to already, that I finished, and like that was very familiar. I know, I know how to, do exams. I know how to finish tasks. I know how to make and write a paper and stuff like that, like how to do research. But this was another different, completely different kind of school. So that day, that session, I finished by saying how I started going to school, that I called the art of living,
Mm.
and becoming my own artist.
Mm.
And when I finished the session, I I wrote a message in the group of my friends, WhatsApp group, and informed them how today was the first day of a new school for me. So that was very, like beautiful. And since then, my close friends and I joined around that idea, or they kind of accepted it, not accepted it, but just it was like a very spontaneous movement, like and we kind of made jokes about, let's have teachers in this school of art of living, let's have groups, let's see what we're going to do in this school and how we're going to do it and what kind of meetings we're going to have. It's like, of course, not right, like for real, like a school, but you know what I say. So our group now has this name, The Art of Living, and it's very present. So that's a story. That's something, yeah. First, I guess that we have to touch this place of kind of an abyss in
Mhm.
our life, whatever that is for us, and then turn it into an aesthetic value, in something that is beautiful, something that keeps us supported, makes us supported and joyful again. So yeah, that's the story.
Mm. And it is beautiful.
Thank you.
And I'm wondering, we were chatting about this a little bit before starting, but how do you experience your age?
Yeah, well, that's a very it used to be a very sensitive topic for me. First, because most of people, tend to say, "Oh, you look much younger. How old are you? 15?" I'm like, no, like, like, and I don't do really much to make myself look older, because, like, yeah, I will be older. There's time to to look older. Um, Now I'm really okay with my age. I really accept my age. I'm really good at with my age, and I love my age, because now I can say, I'm this young. I'm soon not yet 30, but in December I'll be 30 years old, and I have now 7 years of experience of being a Gestalt therapist. And I have 11 or 12, I don't know how many years in Gestalt, like in education. And for me that's very supportive, like
Mm.
I accept it completely. And even nowadays when people say, you look much younger, how old are you? You're so young, like it's like, I don't know how to describe this, but I'm completely fine. And it used to be a topic because, during my education, especially in Gestalt, in university, I was with group of my peers. Everyone had the same age. So that was not really a problem. But in Gestalt education, as you probably know, the groups are quite diverse, and people are very different in age. And I was always the youngest one. And yeah, some people were few years older than me, but some people were quite older than me. And it kind of provoked, some of the first, maybe wonders, you're so young, stuff like that. But again, I never really, I didn't suffer because of that, because, usually when we started talking and exchanging ideas and knowledge or just experience, they would all say like, you know, this age, like really, I completely changed the way I perceive you, like, I don't see you as young anymore. And that kind of was, I guess, their feedback, and that was fine. And it really, over the time, nobody noticed it anymore. And also the great support were actually teachers, educators, within my school, Studio for Education Belgrade, but also teachers from Europe and United States and the rest of the world, who came to lecture us and who really were very supportive. And they were even more like curious, and sometimes, how to say, struck by maybe my maturity, or the level or the way I experience things, or I think about them, or the questions I ask, or they were very supportive. So it wasn't always maybe at the beginning I felt some shame around my age. It kind of provoked me as being inadequate,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and provoked, yeah, the feeling of inadequacy, and the feeling of not really um um how to say, competent enough, or experienced enough, or um knowledgeable, or uh yeah, it did provoke some feelings of inadequacy.
Mm-hmm.
So it was I did work that through. I worked on that in my therapy. So now I can say that I'm completely fine, and I'm good. I'm happy. I'm proud and grateful. Grateful for what I had as experience. What Grateful for all these opportunities, and yeah, yeah.
And I'm curious, you mentioned in several occasions the people that shaped you. So you mentioned your parents and then some of the people in the Gestalt Center. But do you want to add someone, or do you want to add something more about who are the people that shaped you and in which ways?
Hmm. Yeah, of course. Well, I mentioned definitely my family, and then when it comes to Gestalt specifically, of course, the first one is my mom. Um, she's one of the teachers within the Studio for Education Belgrade. So on many different levels, she was the one who introduced me with Gestalt, with, first how to live it, and then how to think about it in a way. She introduced me to that. And then on the path, of course, when I started my education, there were my teachers, my mentors, my supervisors, and I could name them all by name, like You probably know a lot of them. First, of course, Lydia Petzotic. She is the founder of school and DGM network. In a way, like she holds many different institutes together, and like how she brought Gestalt here and how she from day one like worked on it and developed, and how open she was to this development and following the changes, and enabling us with huge opportunities to learn from different teachers, first within our Studio for Education Belgrade, people from Serbia, and then from like whole world, actually, like from United States, from Europe, like having the opportunity to learn from people who learned from Fritz Perls, who actually founded Gestalt. That's a huge privilege. That's something that it's deeply engraved in the school, and it shapes us, all of us. I can speak in my for myself. There are Michael Vincent Miller, Dan Bloom, Jean-Marie Rabin, Gianni Franceschetti, Jan Rubal, Margarita Spagnolo. I'll probably miss, of course, Bertram Miller. All these different teachers really help us a lot and are great support for us, even still during our doctorate program that I'm part of. And I like in different moments, I remember some of their lectures. I remember some of the personal exchange that I had with them. Even I had the personal contact with some of them. So that's something that I really appreciate and that I feel privileged for and very grateful. So yeah. Now some of the images come to my mind, different places. And not only that we had like opportunity to learn from them, but also some of the people that are outside of Gestalt, we had an opportunity to meet Thomas More and to learn from him. That was also an experience that probably I'll never, kind of forget.
How do you think that experience shaped you?
That specific one, or like
Yeah, that specific one.
Yeah, I still kind of can evoke the atmosphere of warmth, of like containing, how the atmosphere was very contained, very supportive, and the atmosphere of like some kind of lightness with really nice rhythm, like the rhythm of the flow, of how it went, the work, the sessions that we had with him, the exchanges on different topics and different themes, in psychotherapy and psychology. And then also some of the personal exchanges with him, like it's a change. The meeting itself was, it provokes change. It's it's impossible not to change after, I guess, any experience. But yeah, I still remember the atmosphere of that day.
And I'm curious, unless you want to add someone else.
Well, I cannot miss to mention the person who is very much present in my life, and that I guess shapes me day to day basis, or that we shape each other. That's definitely my sister Nina. I don't know. There's, I come to many moments when I think, how different it would have been if she wasn't on this path with me, and how happy I am to share it with her. And it's a, I know it's the hmm, she is a great source of my support, and an example
Mm-hmm.
how she approaches things, how she raises some questions to me and vice versa. So she's the most present person that affects me on a day-to-day basis. And we really do cooperate very closely in this field. So I'm definitely very thankful for her.
And I'm curious now that you're talking about these things, this question stays with me, which is how do you differentiate yourself in a family of gestaltists?
Yeah.
Because I can totally imagine that on one hand it's a wonderful experience, and then on the other hand is almost as if there is a potential for a collective unconscious being created.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Like when I thought about it, I know like other examples in history of psychology or psychiatry where or psychotherapy where like this is something that happened, like that mother or father was psychologist or psychotherapist, and then the ones that came after kind of continued that path, and not only through two generations but through more than two. So we're definitely not specific for that. But how do I differentiate? I guess that first I differentiate as the title of this project is as a human. We differentiate ourselves first as human beings. We are different, very different individuals, and that kind of makes some kind of a whole, I guess. And then as Gestalt therapist, we are also in a way different.
Mm-hmm.
I I know what I can, not I can expect, but I know um, when I, need different things, will I talk about that with my mom or with my sister, or um, some of their qualities that can broaden the way of my perception or thinking about something. um, I think that them two really um, give in something new.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of some specific example how to maybe explore this with you a bit better, but I'm not sure if really something comes up to my mind. But I'm sure, I'm sure that because I know already that if you asked, someone who knows all three of us, that they would probably have a better answer of how different we are. For
Mm-hmm.
me, maybe it's not easy to answer it straight away with the specific thing, but yeah, I think that definitely I feel different, and it's not hard for me to differentiate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I will have to speak about them if I start talking about this. So, it's a long story, I guess, but it may be interesting to ask someone else, not like formally, but informal.
Yeah.
Let's see, yes.
And also you mentioned the word privilege in the last answer, and I was curious, where do privilege and power sit in your life, and how do you see those terms for you?
Privilege and power.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure that I relate those two straight away.
Okay.
Maybe can you help me
I
with
mean, you can answer them completely separately. You can say what privilege is and then say what power is for you.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I think that when it comes to privilege, that's not that hard in a way. To give with an example, as I said, how privileged I felt to have all these people in my life, when they how kind in a way how they marked it, what kind of trace they left, they made. Um, and I'm not necessarily just again speaking about the the good stuff. Now when you raise this question, like I guess that I appreciate also maybe some mismatches or misunderstandings, because when they were kind of sorted out or talked through or repaired, then the growth was kind of enabled again.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but for me, I feel privileged whenever um, I get an opportunity that um, is rare,
Mm-hmm.
or when I get an opportunity to learn from someone um, who has so much knowledge or experience, and who is also shaped by many other people through Ansel's life. And um, yeah, it's something very simple comes to my mind, just privilege to have them in my life, to have them be, have
Mm-hmm.
them pass, to have them be for a moment or stay for a longer than that. I don't know, something like that. Not sure if I answered your question, but
I mean, I guess that's your answer. Yeah, because I guess privilege, I've learned a lot about privilege by asking this question because I've learned the polarity of it, and privileged privilege is seen as something that's beautiful, privilege to be alive, and then also privilege is something that we can be privileged and not aware of our privilege and then use that and abuse that. So there are obviously many facets to this
yeah,
term.
when you say that, we can say we can feel privileged again, just to be
Yeah,
alive, to be,
exactly.
to appreciate what we have in each and every moment. Yeah, that's probably the best definition of it.
Mm.
Um, and the power, hmm, I can mix it with the word strength,
Okay.
but I guess that uh, that's not what you aim for.
I must admit, I don't have an aim. I feel like these words are like a projection screen.
Power.
So feel free to infuse in them whatever you project into them.
Yeah, well, I first that what comes is strength.
Uh huh.
You know, strength to face life, strength to make decisions, make choices, strength to this, you know, yeah, as I said, decide to decide the direction where I want to go, where I don't want to go, what I want, what I don't want. It's like the strength or the power to take the responsibility for my own life, for people I care, if the situation needs that. Um, yeah, I kind of, that's where my thoughts first go, like to take the responsibility. Um, but in some like maybe more negative terms, it goes to uh, power. some kind of oppression or some kind of like you have to do this, you have to do that, which I'm not comfortable with,
Mm-hmm.
not in my life, not in approaching other people. I like, more spontaneous, more like free uh, way of living. But again, probably not probably, but in some senses, like the law and order must exist. So it's not an easy question, again, as other some of your questions, but yeah, first it goes to strength and taking on the responsibility, being responsible towards myself, toward other, toward the world, having the power to make a positive change in any sphere of and level of being.
Mm-hmm. And we didn't touch upon this, but what do you think are some events that might shaped your life? And again, life is a continuum and a collection of many small and big events. But is there anything that you want to share?
Mhm. I think I was very broad about that in answering your question, who I am, because I kind of mentioned all these different events and people during those times that shaped me and that were very important, and I really feel them, very close to myself. Um, and consider them as sources of my support. So I'm not sure, maybe not to repeat myself, but maybe see if I didn't mention something on the way as of events. Nothing really comes else in my mind, I guess. I mean, all these events like that I can later like differentiate during my education and becoming psychotherapist, those are all important events that I didn't maybe elaborate in more details. um, I mean, this is again when we speak about like me as being a Gestalt therapist, but there are so many events that shaped me and that that I cannot like how to say, separate from my being. And now what comes to my mind are my brothers and my sister's kids, and who I adore, and like they really shaped me as an aunt. So um, um, they are the newest additions, or the newest um, little people that came in my field and shaped me and evoke joy and love and laugh and play and creativity and um, just some kind of peace and presence that is probably different than from all the other um, moments of presence or being present in life.
And I think the next chapter of the interview is around Gestalt, but I felt you are living Gestalt, so it's very difficult to separate you from this.
Yeah, it is.
And so I would just ask maybe just two or three the specific questions. One is maybe what did you see as one of your biggest challenges in Gestalt?
Hmm. Well, I have to go then to beginning of education, because probably the biggest challenges I encountered during that time. Again, I was very young. um, and it was like this experience of being in a group of very different people with different age and experience and events in life, of course. And for me, the biggest challenge at that moment was to expose, to kind of open to be open to being fragile in front of them, to just expose. Yeah, because with my age and as I mentioned, the feeling of inadequacy, you know, I felt that even while exposing myself, like, oh, is this you know, significant enough? Is this theme or topic that I you know, will share now with them? Will they find it, you know, stupid or like childish, or however, you know, like some of the thoughts were that kind. um but you know, as we kind of moved on and spent so much time together, I overcame that challenge, definitely. um, and now I'm definitely fine when it comes to being exposed in groups. And but it was like, for me, exposing definitely was in all different spheres, not only exposing in front of like my experiential group in Gestalt on the first year, but you know, just exposing myself even in front of other people who are peers, or you know. So it was very developmentally important for me, just the growth that I find very important and significant. So I still find sometimes on the moments, but again, I'm sitting here with you and doing it, and I feel nice. So again, you know, I accepted the risk, and it's nice. So thank you for that. Um, when I move on to other challenges, in Gestalt, it was maybe like not a challenge, but maybe a frustration for me that came there at the beginning of my second year of psychology studies. And you know, like, studies at university are very structured, are very defined, you know, which module, which this, which that, what will be for exam, what will, you know what to expect. And Gestalt and the way of how theory and methodology and everything about Gestalt, it's not like that at all. So it was a first frustration for me to you know, like, as a beginner, as someone who was at the beginning, you know, like, there's so much, and I'm aware of how much there is, you know, like, when I go to lectures about theory and methodology, where all different students are first year, second year, third year, fourth year, and they all have different levels of knowledge, and I'm like, I don't know this, like, where can I read it? And then, you know, you don't have like, okay, this is the first lecture, this is the second. You learn with the flow, you go with the flow, and you know, it's just like how it goes. You have, of course, different theories and methodology lectures, but at that moment it's like a lot, and a lot to comprehend. And something that was probably the biggest frustration was that, you know, you couldn't just read the chapter and understand what you saw, for example, in the therapy session or in the group session. Or so that was a huge process. And I can say that it was the third or fourth year that I felt all this knowledge inside of me, you know, and that I was still, of course, learning and stuff like that. But it was like, okay, now I get it, you know. It's like an aha experience. Like, you cannot learn Gestalt in a traditional way of, you know, learning stuff like in academic setting and stuff like that. It's because, of course, it's very experiential and you don't know what is going to happen. And then theory is very vast and it develops constantly, and then you read about something that was, in the beginning phases of Gestalt like this, and then how it develops and it's turned to be like that. And then in this phase, like in our contemporary society, of course, because Gestalt takes into consideration and in theory development, we take this, whole field like cultural, social, political, economic, however. So it's constantly changing. So, it's like at that moment when you are at the beginning, it's like, and then it's like, just like, oh, this is beautiful again. Like, it's very nice. And just accepting that fact that, it takes time for Gestalt to be assimilated. And I mean, theory, not like practice or not experience, but theory.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was definitely one of the challenges, and how I overcame it is like, I was, as the nerd that I am, I would really be very focused on writing down everything. And then, it's very nice when I take some of my notes from like 10 years ago, which are really like huge texts about some topic or something that we did that day, that can never be repeated in a way. It will always be something new. It's like, then I still learn from those notes, because sometimes you forget or you hear it differently and experience it differently. So, you know, now it's very nice because you can surprise every time you open, the notes. And that experience of being able to be, struck or being surprised, and take in again something old in a new way again. So now I what frustrated me at the beginning is something that I enjoy right now and last, I don't know how many years.
And it's very interesting. I asked what's challenged you, and I think you also answered the question, what are your most beautiful memories? But is there anything else do you want to add?
Well, I like, I am very much uh how to say, not a fan, but I really um go by this sentence, turning a challenge or something that is a frustration or even pain into something beautiful. Johnny wrote a very nice text, a brilliant text about that, changing pain or transforming pain into beauty. And that is always somewhere here. So I think that whenever I think about something, about a challenge or about a struggle or about a pain, I always get this other part, how, if I did process it, if I did work on it, I always take this other part, how it changed into something beautiful and something supportive. So same thing, but different experience.
Yeah, it will be awesome. Then we will link that paper in the interview notes.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you belong to a Gestalt community?
Yes. Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
do feel. And eh, yeah, I do feel. And it's a real experience. It's not just on the level of feeling. I am actually very actively involved in work of Gestalt community, and in cooperation with my colleagues from Europe, from EAGT. Um, right now, there is this general meeting within EAGT, so that I was involved in, and even in that sense, I feel involved, like um, participating in Gestalt conferences, seeing and meeting people there, There was a research conference in Hamburg that finished like around 20 days ago that I was part of, in a way of being in an not an organizational, but like the scientific board. We went through the applied works and papers, but also I participated as one of the participants that had a poster presentation and presenting the results of a research that I did with my colleagues. So in that way as well, I am editing a Gestalt journal, Gestalt Zbornik, that is published by Serbian Association for Gestalt Therapy. So even in that way, I feel very connected with my colleagues, with the Gestalt community, having an opportunity to also learn from them through their works, and to be able to cooperate and communicate with many colleagues who are interested into publishing or anything like that. So yeah, on many levels, I feel as a part of Gestalt community here in Serbia, and also even wider, and again through school, having an opportunity to be in touch with many different teachers from Europe, from America. Yes, I feel very much connected.
Hmm. And what do you then think is next for you and for Gestalt therapy as you see it?
Um, mhm. What is next? Well, it's now for next. So I don't tend to look too much into future when it comes to Gestalt, but also when it comes to other things in my life. I really go like moment by moment and see what happens. And many things happened that I didn't expect, that I didn't plan, that I didn't really have in my mind, this is what I want to do next. But then I got a call, or I got an invitation, or there was a situation from which something nice came up, an idea or something like that. So I like, honestly, I really don't have any plan. There is something that I see for myself in a way of course I want to expand, I want to grow, I want to expand as a professional, and see how it's going to look like. It may be in the sense of more like group work, or being more into some kind of, I don't know, being more devoted to research, or but that's nothing that I don't do right now. So I don't like to, like, there is no projection, hey, this is what I want and this is how I see myself, because I didn't have those kind of plans along the way. I mean, I had these plans, like I will finish university, bachelor's, master in psychology, education in Gestalt. I finished master in Gestalt, now is doctorate. I had those, like, but even like some of those milestones, like master in Gestalt therapy, or doctorate in Gestalt therapy, I didn't plan that. I
Mhm.
didn't plan it. It was like situation, hey, we are starting this program. Would you like to be, would you like to enroll? And yes, I said, of course. Again, like with my colleagues, I am the first generation of students in doctorate program within Maltese Training Institute in Gestalt Therapy. And that was like, we were together and Lydia informed us and we were like, yes, we want to go. But I didn't have it in mind. I didn't have in mind like I want to, or it was just like, and as Thomas More sometimes puts it, like, let some of the things choose you, or emerge somewhere, like, so
Mm.
we'll see.
Yeah. Is there anything that you want to add and I haven't asked you?
I don't really know. Like, I have a feeling that we are like talking for hours. And in a way we are, because we did talk a lot before this interview. So I'm not sure what I said during this time and what I said before. So I don't really feel that I missed anything. I mean, yeah, I'm quite okay with and happy that we had this conversation and that I met you. So again, if it appears that there's something that we didn't discuss or didn't talk about, we can always meet again.
Exactly. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.